Welcome to Benny versus the Penny, the worldwide YouTube version. Here's your host, big bloviating Ben Maller.
Well, here we are, Tom. It's week 4. This is the full edition of Benny versus the Penny, not the fake amateur edition. We had the appetizer. We had the appetizer for the Thursday night game, but
Yes.
we get into it now. And we have
And when you say the fake amateur edition, we're not talking about the 2 years on real television at NBC.
No.
We're talking about the Thursday night appetizer.
Or the years on radio
Right,
and
right.
all that national radio. But here we are in the YouTube world, just like Mr. Beast. And so the way the show works, if you've just stumbled on Benny versus the Penny, we flip the penny up in the air, Tom. And if it lands on heads, that means it is the
Home team.
That's right. If it lands on tails, we've got some toys. If it lands on tails, it's the road team. Now, before we look ahead, Tom, and we have a lot to get, look back, Tom. We must look back to what happened back in week 3. Yes, we must
Incredible,
look back.
Ben. Congratulations on your NFL week 3 incredible run.
Yes,
you had a win over a brainless penny and an inanimate object. Ben, you had 8 wins and 8 losses.
That's not good, Tom.
Yeah, it's a kiss your sister moment. And the inanimate object was 5-11. So
wow, that is bad. That is terrible for the penny to go 5-11. That's a 313 winning percentage.
Yes, and if you'll stop looking at us and look at the scroll down below, you can see that season totals Benny has 24 wins, 24 losses.
So this is actually, I'm going to be positive, Tom. I'm going to be Benny Brightside because I recall last year getting buried early in the season. So the way this has worked in the past when we did it on the radio and not so much TV didn't go so well, but on the radio, you want to be around 500. It's a season-long battle, Tom. It's a war of attrition.
It's a marathon.
Week in and week out. So as long as you're around 500, at some point you're going to have a couple of good weeks. You just want to avoid the really terrible weeks. So I'll take that. We're 3 weeks in, and I'll take the 500 record at 24-20. I'd much rather be in my position, Tom, than that stupid penny.
Well, yeah, the penny, 19 wins, 29 losses. And explain to the unwashed, Ben, because we are washed. We are on television and radio. They are unwashed. And they're trying to go to Vegas or use their online app and win. Why, being at 50% or 51 or 52, professional gamblers are at what, 53, 54, correct?
Yes, Tom, you know the math on that. They said there would be no math on Benny versus the penny,
right.
But the way that it works, you have to win. I think it's around 54%, a little less than that, because of the VIG on the games. And if you're 500,
explain what a VIG is.
Well, it's a little incentive, Tom, for the house to
the money you have to pay the house.
Exactly. They're guaranteed to make money. In theory, they should not care who wins these games, because as long as there's equal money on both sides, they're going to take the VIG, and that's going to be their profit. Now, if it's lopsided and they happen to have the team, more people betting on the team that didn't cover, they obviously make more money, but it's mostly based on the math of it to make it all work, the economics of it. So that's that, Tom. What do we have now?
Well, you're up on the brainless penny. We've covered that. We've covered how it works for some people who don't know how it works. Any more pennies for your thoughts?
Well, yes, Tom. I do have some thoughts here. I'm glad you brought that up. So we have the Cheetah Confluence, we'll call it here.
Okay.
And I've loved my time in Pittsburgh. I was only there briefly. I got to get back to Pittsburgh, but they have the Allegheny and the Monongahela. They get together, Tom. They have a baby. It's called the Ohio River.
Yes.
It's beautiful with the city wrapped around.
Those 3 rivers come together and they put a stadium there.
It's pretty cool. So I bring this up because the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have their game as a featured game on Benny versus the Penny, but they are going across the Atlantic Ocean, and they need some help here. There's some rumors this week that the Steelers are interested in Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins are already done. They're terrible this season. The buzz around the NFL, Pittsburgh, they got to get another receiver. Now, Tyreek Hill he's hit and miss at this particular point, but considering what they have, you got to get somebody alongside DK Metcalf. Can you imagine, though, on that Pittsburgh team, you put Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and Tyreek Hill in there. That is a Mike Tomlin tinderbox waiting to happen. Highly combustible situation. Another thought, Tom. Speaking of Mike Tomlin, it's a Steeler-heavy penny for your thoughts here.
Okay.
So the Colts backup quarterback, Anthony Richardson, taking some shrapnel, verbal shrapnel from Mike Tomlin. I love this. Tomlin is such a great orator. He's such a great communicator. So this past week, Tomlin's talking about he was talking about backup quarterbacks, and Tomlin said that he advised the Steelers players last year when they played the Colts to not injure Anthony Richardson, to keep him upright, to not get him hurt, because they didn't want Joe Flacco to come in the game, because that's how much Anthony Richardson stunk. And so I love that a coach admitted to it. Like, yeah, I told our guys, make sure you don't hurt Anthony Richardson. We want him in the game. And my final thought here, Tom, remember the bulletin board. This became a somewhat big story in the NFL world this week. Titans defensive back, former Chief L'Jarius Sneed, was asked about matching up with the Texans wide receiver Nico Collins this weekend here. And the veteran defensive back, when he was asked the question, responded by asking, who? To the star receiver Nico Collins. So this became a thing. But here's the deal, Tom. Okay. I've learned from years and years being in the media business that while it makes for good radio chatter and now social media chatter and YouTube chatter, YouTube, makes for good stuff there. However, the impact of bulletin board material, it doesn't exist. It's mainly used to explain the outcome of a game. Like, for example, if the Texans win, and they are favored by a large amount there against the Titans, people will say, well, it's because of L'Jarius Sneed and the bulletin board. Of course, it'll be forgotten if the team from Tennessee wins, right? If the unexpected result. So that's the way that
also
works.
forgot once you get your bell rung after the first play and you don't know who you are, you're forgotten about it. Now, one quick thing before we get to the games, Tom.
Yes, I want to get to the games.
We have all the years in covering a locker room. And I remember I was traveling with the Lakers there during the back-to-back championships. And if we talk about the good old days and go back in the hot tub time machine when we had more important jobs. And I never saw a bulletin board in a Laker locker room, home or visiting. Have you ever seen a bulletin board in a locker room?
I have.
Okay.
Major League Baseball clubhouses have a bulletin board.
Oh, they do? Still?
Yeah, but much like the radio places that we've worked on, nobody actually stops and looks. It's all it's for lawyers. You just put stuff up. So if somebody sues you, wow, it was off.
Still got the memo about the party, about the Easter party. You're right.
You didn't read the thingamajig. It's in the clubhouse. It's on the wall. You're supposed to read it. You have to walk by there to get to your locker. You have to read it. So that's pretty much where that is. And I imagine NFL practice facilities, not the stadiums, but the practice facilities probably have it. But that's the lowdown on that, Tom. Let's get to the games. Where are we going first?
Chargers at Giants. Bring up the graphics. We'll get the graphic department. Thank you very much to follow the show. Chargers at Giants. Long trip for the rough and tumble Chargers going up against the New York Giants. They still do that, Ben, no matter what. You're online, you're taking a look at games, and everyone has to say long trip.
Yes.
And as you point out, like they're going on a horse and buggy, long trip in your first class wide-bodied seat while you eat filet mignon. Long trip for the Chargers going up against the New York Giants and their green banana quarterback this week, Jackson Dart. Giants are getting 6 points. What do you say, points whore? You taking those points?
Well, I usually like points. This game, a Kevin Harlan CBS game. Kevin Harlan CBS.
He's great.
So I saw the Charge. I'll tell you a funny story. So last week I was at the Charger game in the.
We'll decide if it. We'll decide if it's.
Well, I was freeloading, right, and so there was a conversation going on between somebody who works for the Chargers and a reporter, and the person that works for the Chargers was singing the praises of Jim Harbaugh and how this is a blue collar team, and the reporter said, how is it a blue-collar team? They're all making millions of dollars. It was very, maybe I had to be there, but it was very funny, Tom. So anyway, get to the point. I'm taking the Chargers in this game. There's no way I am backing a rookie quarterback in his first start, Jackson Dart making his first start against a Charger defense, by the way, that even though with Khalil Mack hurt, even with him out, ranked in the top 10, fewest yards allowed. Jim Harbaugh going to dial up the pressure, force Mr. Dart to make some plays there. And Justin Herbert on the other side has been lethal to start the year. The short, quick throws, he's been great. I still don't trust him in big games. This is not a big game, Tom. It is not. And you have Herbert, who leads the NFL in passing yards, and he goes against a Giants defense, which is 31st in total defense. Only the Ravens have sucked more defensively than the Giants. So that's in the Chargers' favor. And New York's just bad. They're bad against the run. They're bad against the pass. If there was another way to be bad, they'd be bad at that. And the Chargers lead the NFL in red zone efficiency. They've converted. Some people say, well, you mentioned the travel, and they're not traveling by stagecoach. And it's also an early game. West Coast teams historically have not done that well in the early games on the East Coast, the 10 a.m. body clock game. However, Jim Harbaugh, here's a fun fact, Tom. Jim Harbaugh, 11 games as an NFL coach against the spread, 1 p.m. Eastern games. That's with the 49ers and the Chargers. 10-1 against the spread. Chargers will win this game by 10 points or more, and the penny picks.
Okay, let's go with the penny. Heads is the home team, tails is the visitors. That's how we play. That's how this game is played. Landing on heads. Benny going with the Giants. Benny taking the lightning bolts and giving away the points.
All right, where are we headed now, Tom? Where are we going?
Eagles at Buccaneers, Tampa Bay, St. Pete, birthplace of TikTok star Soup Timmy. But you knew that, Pat, of course. And Tampa Bay getting 3.5 points.
Are you making that up? That's
Soup Timmy from Tampa Bay, born in Tampa Bay.
Okay, good for that person. So both these teams are 3-0. This is the big game on Fox, Tom. This is Kevin Burkhardt and some guy named Tom Brady, the Raiders owner, who gets to pretend to be a broadcaster because everyone loves broadcasting, Tom. So I'm going to go with Bucko Bruce here and the boys from Tampa. Here's why. I'll tell you why. This matchup favors Tampa Bay. I was told by a man named Tom Looney years ago, styles make fights.
That's right.
Styles make fights. It was either that or a famous sports writer. Anyway, the Bucs match up very well with the Eagles here. Philadelphia runs the ball 54% of the time, right? 54% of the time. That is the most in the NFL. And Tampa Bay is number 1 in EPA allowed per handoff. So expected performance above whatever, blah, 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 blah. They're number 2 in success rate allowed per run, which I'm told is good. So that is based on the numbers, it's a small sample size, but that is an elite run defense. And so you're going to.
I love that you point out that Tampa Bay and the Environmental Protection Agency are working together to keep us living longer with clean air.
Absolutely. But you force Jalen Hurts to beat you now. Say, well, the Jalen Hurts beat the Rams. No, the special teams beat the Rams. Jalen Hurts was good, but the Rams still would have won that game had they had halfway decent special teams last week. That was one of my bad beats, because they returned that blocked field goal, they being Philadelphia, for a touchdown. So now the one weak spot for Tampa, and they've got a few, but that secondary is not good. So there are going to be some yards there for Jalen Hurts. And for the Bucs on offense, Baker Mayfield, if you look at the numbers, he's done very well against zone coverage. The Eagles play that a lot. So listen, it favors the Buccaneers. I love getting the hook there. So as the great play-by-play voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Gene Deckerhoff, would say, fire the cannons and the penny picks.
Oh, by the way, Gary Sheffield, also born in Tampa Bay, St. Pete, by the way.
Isn't Doc Gooden from Tampa, too?
I did not see that in my Tampa Bay.
That's where Hulk Hogan died.
Penny landing on tails, and Penny going with the visiting Eagles. Benny taking the Bucs. And the
let's move on, Tom. It's Benny versus the penny. Where are we going now, Tom?
Vikings versus Steelers in Ireland. A game being played across the mighty Atlantic Ocean. If we had lazy teleprompter writers, they would say across the pond. We don't do that here. Lazy people and lazy sportscasters call it a pond. It's a grand ocean, the mighty Atlantic Ocean. Very dangerous and unpredictable. My cousins in Ireland are going to be watching this game. Shout out to the Loonies in Munster and the Dorans in Roscommon. Steelers getting 2.5 points.
Yeah, well, we both know a pond, Tom. There's a great park in L.A.
Yes.
A little green pond.
Peanut Lake, which is definitely not a lake. It's definitely a pond. Love that place.
It's beautiful. Many homeless people have bathed in there. So, all right. So as far as this game, Tom, Vikings and Steelers both 2-1. Carson Wentz was Sam Darnold 2.0 in Minnesota last week. What a great launch. Don't expect a repeat in this game. However, listen, these are not your Steelers, your daddy's Steelers, is what I'm trying to say here. Carson Wentz goes against the 28th ranked total defense. It has been a debacle in Pittsburgh so far this season. And Justin Jefferson remains he's matchup proof, as the kids like to say. It doesn't matter who you match up against him. Now, the key here, and we're not sure at the time we're doing this, whether or not Jordan Addison is going to actually play, but he is eligible to return, the wide receiver from USC, who was suspended for 3 games for being a bad boy. So I am betting on the Purple People Eaters defense, coached by Brian Flores. Across the board, this is the elite side. Pittsburgh's offense is not elite. Their defense is not elite. Neither is their special teams. And in Minnesota, I don't trust the Vikings offense. I do trust their defense here. They rank in the top 3 in fewest passing yards allowed, second in defensive DVOA. That's a nerd stat time. This is how much I love Benny versus the Penny. I am going into the nerd stats. I don't even like the nerd stats. And
first we had EPA, which is not the Environmental Protection Agency that they're telling me in my ear. It's something having to do with football. And now you've got DVOA, which is not where you get your license. What's the DVOA?
Well, it's a complex formula, Tom. It combines a bunch of variables to determine who's good and who's not good. Anyway, that's the layman's explanation, Tom. So Minnesota, though, defensively, they forced 5 turnovers. They scored 2 defensive touchdowns in that just destroying of the Cincinnati Bengals last week. And so Pittsburgh's offense has been inconsistent. Aaron Rodgers has really been mediocre since week 1. The Vikings pass rush, that is, they say it travels well, Tom, when you play like that. And so I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings. The Steelers only have one guy that scares you, DK Metcalf, right now, as we mentioned earlier. And the penny picks.
You know, when I shower on Thursdays, it's always with a bar of Irish Spring in my hand. It's like taking a shower in Ireland. I don't know if you've ever.
Very similar. My grandfather loved Irish Spring. Very strong.
Okay, Penny landing on heads. Penny going with the Steelers. Benny going with the Vikings and giving away the points.
I like the fact that you had told everyone globally here on YouTube that you shower only on Thursdays.
Oh, yes. It's not good for you to shower every day. It's really.
No, you don't want to be clean at all. No. All right. So it
was a complete conspiracy by the soap companies. How do we get this bar to go down faster? We'll make up a BO. Okay, BO. Don't suffer from BO. And then to get us to shame us into taking a shower every day, which is not good for you.
Oh, okay.
But now,
Dr. Rooney, yes.
And I work from home now, so I can just take a shower on Thursdays.
Yes, you're on long-term disability. All right, where are we going now, Tom?
Packers and Cowboys, Arlington, Texas, where the ballpoint pen was invented. Packers offense in a coma last week, but the Cowboys defense can't stop anybody. It doesn't matter. Hometown Dallas Cowboys getting 7.
Well, this is the game of the year until the next game of the year. Packers 2-1, Cowboys 1-2. You've got Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. So which quarterback is Collinsworth going to slobber all over? Probably Jordan Love.
Again, with the networks force feeding us Cowboy games like the old people still give us cranberry sauce at Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, this is the Micah Parsons revenge game. He will not be celebrated on the Jumbotron, Tom. But Green Bay's defense is already considered elite. Again, I go to the nerd stats here. They are number 3 in EPA, so that's good for the environment. Number 2 in overall success rate allowed. And that said, the main reason that I am going to take the Cheeseheads here is not because of Micah Parsons and the defense. It is because of Planet Lovetron. There used to be a basketball player you told me about named Daryl Dawkins. He claimed from Planet Lovetron.
Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, that's right. Bounce back for Jordan Love here, who's got to be licking his chops when he watches the film. Jordan Love thrives against zone defenses, as you know, and it's the X's and O's part of it. So he's done very well against zone defenses. In fact, his completion percentage goes from 56% all the way up to 58% versus the zone. His yards per pass attempt also go up here. And Dallas has run zone defense 86% of the time on dropbacks. So that sets up very well. Jerry Jones, you referenced this briefly. The Cowboys defense ranked 30th in the NFL in many categories. And the Cowboys offense not going to have CeeDee Lamb. By the way, I love that CeeDee Lamb spells, the parents spell the name Ceedee.
I like that. Yes.
C-E-N-D.
They walked us through his name. Yes, I like that.
I think that's just wonderful. Just great. Anyway, listen, Green Bay is pretty good defensively. The Cowboys are going to have to keep up here because their defense doesn't stop anybody. And Dak Prescott, if you look at what he has done, like all quarterbacks who are mediocre, when you take away one of their top receivers, they don't elevate the other players. Dak Prescott's efficiency has gone down, 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 down. The Cowboys offense sputtered last week without CeeDee Lamb, so they scored just 14 points.
I call it the Austin Collie effect. Great quarterbacks all of a sudden elevate mediocre wide receivers that you've never heard of, like Austin Collie, which Peyton Manning did back in the day. See, Dak Prescott doesn't have an Austin Collie.
This is probably why we're not on TV right now, Tom. We mentioned Daryl Dawkins and Austin Collie on this.
That's great.
Right. Again, I'm going to take the pack. I hate having to lay points, but I'm going to do it. I'll take the Packers. The penny picks.
Okay. Benny landing on tails. Penny picking the Green Bay Packers. Benny also taking the Packers and giving away the points.
I got to say, Tom, nobody on YouTube has the graphics that we have.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Matter of fact, we have one skeletal crew here on YouTube, our director, Martin Scorsese Jr. And if you'll notice, with the banners, they become the color of your pick. Did you know?
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm very proud of that.
Okay. Well, as we pivot to the B block, as we call it in the business, Big Ben, before the president complained about us, we used to be on network television. Now we're on YouTube. I need to mention this. You're going to lose your points, your points whore reputation if you keep going. You keep giving away the points.
Yeah. I know.
You're pivoting this week. It's incredible.
By the way, we're already one game into the B block, Tom. That's a bad job by you. But let me just point out, if you have stumbled onto this channel, please click that subscribe button, tell a friend, pass it on. You on the phone, you send it to somebody else. It's free to watch, obviously. So the next game, you mentioned we're going to the Colts and Rams. Yes, is that where we're going?
Yes, I did. You don't need to direct me on the air. I did know. I said as we pivot to the B block.
Well, in my defense, I was not listening to you while you were talking.
Okay, great. I know that one well. That's my defense a lot. 2 Colts at Rams, Inglewood, California, birthplace of rapper Sway Lee. But you knew that, Big Ben. Undefeated Colts. They beat 3 teams who stink, and the Rams don't stink. Indy getting 3.5 points.
Yes, so the point spread scares you a little bit. Rams coming off a heartbreaking loss last week. You've got Kevin Kugler and Daryl Moose Johnston have the call.
That's how you know no one's watching.
Yes, that's how you know this is not a sexy matchup. But why are we doing this game, Tom?
Because it's on television.
And I'll be at this game. I'm actually going to be at this game.
And we're doing it because it's on the schedule, as we say.
That's right. The Colts are about to face a major upgrade, as you referenced here, against that Ram defense. The Rams somehow lost a game. They held Saquon Barkley to 2.3 yards per rush last week, his fewest in a game with the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, and the Rams have that ability to absolutely stonewall Jonathan Taylor, the star running back for the Colts. And the theory is pretty similar to what happened in Philadelphia, Tom, where you want Jalen Hurts to be the one that has to beat you. When you play the Colts, you want Daniel Jones to have to light things up here for the Colts to win the game on his arm alone. I don't believe Daniel Jones' career renaissance will continue this week. The pause button, I'm going to hit the pause button on Daniel Jones here. As you mentioned, beating up the Dolphins, Broncos, and Titans, and could have lost the Bronco game. This is where the rubber meets the road against the Rams. Daniel Jones will get a quick reality check here. Matthew Stafford, the better quarterback. The Rams have the better defense. Outside of more special teams blunders and snafus here, the Rams will get her done. Now, they do play on Thursday night next week, but I'm taking Sean McVay's team And you can ram it all day. You can ram it all night. And the penny picks.
By the way, Ella Fitzgerald, also born in Inglewood, Ben. As we mentioned, Chocolate Thunder and Austin Collie. I got to throw in.
Steve Martin born in, oh, maybe
Steve Martin was, Sonny Bono was, and Steve Martin grew up in Inglewood.
Okay, but not born there. I got
I didn't want to leave out Ella Fitzgerald.
Very important. You know the audience.
Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the visiting Colts. Benny with the team of his youth, the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, Tom.
Well,
where are we headed now?
Well, we're going to some breaking news. This is some scroll-worthy. This is scroll-worthy breaking news, Big Ben. Wow. Not a point score this week so far. This is shocking.
This will be the week I get burned. I went away from what I normally do here. I looked at each matchup. I graded each matchup individually, and I'm going to end up getting burned here. So I like that it made the scroll, though. That makes me feel good, Tom.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Ravens at Chiefs, Kansas City, Missouri, not far from Lawrence, Kansas, where you can order the Ben Maller chicken fricassee. Is it, Ben? Is that what it's called?
Well, the Maller Fowler is at a ballet in Lawrence, Kansas. Now, if you want the Ben Maller chicken fingers, that's in Liberty, Missouri, which is right near Arrowhead in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area. And they have a nice big basket full of fried chicken tenders and just delicious fries, just wonderful.
The chicken and the chicken fricassee can be ordered at the ballet.
At the Bird. The Bird in Lawrence, Kansas. Those that are from Lawrence know about the ballet. It's a very wonderful place there. I actually have a shirt from the ballet somewhere.
My mother and father were dancers. I'm the son of a heterosexual dancer. My dad was a dancer.
Right, well, this is a different kind of dancing, Tom. But
okay, let's go to Ravens and Chiefs, Kansas City, Missouri. And Chiefs have some offensive issues. Ravens have defensive issues. Kansas City getting 2.5 points at home.
Yeah, this is a big CBS game this weekend. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. All right, Jim. Anyway, listen, I love Kansas City this week at Arrowhead. Baltimore, as you mentioned, a hot mess. Short week. They played Monday night, not well. They can't block. They can't tackle. Other than that, things are great there in Baltimore. They're at 32nd in yards allowed. And they'd be worse. I think there's only 32 teams here, so there's nowhere else to go. This is only the third time that Mahomes in his run in Kansas City that he has been a home dog. But back-to-back games now, Mahomes a home dog against Philadelphia. They lost that, and then in this game. So historically, if you look at the numbers here, this bodes well for people that like Kansas City. Mahomes 12-3-1. That's an 800 winning percentage against the spread as an underdog in his career. Lamar Jackson, he's 1-4 versus Lamar Jackson or versus Mahomes in his career. If the man could talk.
Well, if I go inside my Tom Looney numbers here, the NFL quarterback rating, it looks to me like Lamar Jackson, number 1 so far this year.
Yeah, but that has not been enough because the Ravens defensively missing key players, Kyle Van Noy and others there. Now, the Chiefs, they have a defense that's legit, so I'm going to go with the better defense here, and they're getting some guys back. Xavier Worthy's supposed to be returning. How about the breakout star, that Patriot reject, Tyquan Thornton last week? So I'm taking Kansas City. What about the penny, Tom?
Yeah, let's flip a coin as we do on the show. That's why it's called Benny versus Benny.
Yeah.
Heads home team, tails would be the Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the smart one here, going with the Ravens. Ben going with Benny, going with
City. Right. Where are we headed now, Tom?
Jets at Dolphins, Miami, Florida. Why are they even playing this game? Jets, Dolphins. Why? I don't get it.
Because it's on the schedule, Tom. That's why they're playing it. They're both 0-3. They're both 0-3.
Jets are getting 3.
Yeah, so this is the early game. There's a doubleheader. I don't know why they do this, but there's another Monday night doubleheader. You've got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I believe, are calling this game. Why? I don't know. And we don't know at the time we're doing Benny versus the Penny whether or not Justin Fields has been cleared and whether he's able to play because of the concussion protocol or whether it's Tyrod Taylor. It doesn't matter. Whoever plays, you've got to be consistent, obviously. And you're set up against a ragtag Dolphin defense here. The formula is straightforward. Avoid turnovers, capitalize on Miami defensive players taking naps during the game. And Tua Tagovailoa will turn the ball over at least a couple of times there. He'll have multiple turnover-worthy throws. Take advantage of that. The Dolphins have allowed 30 or more points in every game so far this season. How bad is it, Tom? It's so bad. Miami ranks dead last in another nerd stat, EPA. All of the different grades, they're at the bottom in these defensive categories. Them and the Ravens. This bodes well for Garrett Wilson, the big play receiver for the Jets. Now, on the other side, for Aaron Glenn, the Jets, while they're certainly not good, they do have a winning record against the spread. They're 2-1 against the spread, and you just have to put a little bit of pressure on Tua.
That's right.
He'll make some mistakes there.
I got a message for Aaron Glenn. Get a fucking last name.
You've always hated people with 2 first names and people with 3 names. You're very
or people with 2 last names like Ferguson Jenkins or Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, you're very judgmental when it comes to names. But listen, bottom line, we're a little long on the show, Tom. So I'm going to take the Jets in this game. What about the penny?
Okay, let's flip it. Abraham Lincoln. What do you think?
Honest Abe. Come on, Abe. Honest Abe.
Abraham Lincoln holding his breath, going with the Jets. Benny holding his breath and taking the Jets as well.
Yeah, you never feel good about taking the Jets. You're never really satisfied. Where are we going now, Tom?
Where are we? Good idea with the Jaguars and the Jets, just to never take them, as well as the Falcons. Bengals at Broncos, Denver, Colorado. Bengals are the Bungles without Joe Burrow, and we're not sure who the Broncos are, but we do know they're happy to be at home after they stunk it up on the road the last 2 weeks. Cincinnati getting 7.5 points.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to go with the Orange Crush. This is the B game on Monday night, so I think that's Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, and someone else. I think this is the B game because it's late.
Oh boy, yeah. When it's people you haven't heard of, you know that they should just have one Monday night game. That's what you know.
Yeah, supply chain shortage on good broadcasters here. But I'm going to take the.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'm going to take the Broncos in this game here. They've been hanging out with Elvis the last couple weeks. Heartbreak Hotel. They had the lead. I was at the game with the Chargers. The Broncos were in position to win that game.
What did they have to eat in the media room? Because I know that's why you went.
Oh, they had these really good brisket sliders, and they had some chili cheese fries. Oh, so good. Oh man, not good for my intestinal tract, but it was very good there.
Well, not when you're doing the fasting, right? You do the
no, it's not good to eat. I on my 5th hour podcast, I told the story. I was on a 48-hour fast, and then I ended up at a restaurant eating pastrami fries, and that was like a nuclear bomb, Tom. That was a nuclear bomb that happened.
I think we've had enough of this story.
Right, moving on
and talk about football.
All right, so listen, Sean Payton's Denver defense leads the league in sacks and third down percentage and all that stuff, and you've got a quarterback who was already rattled last week, Jake Browning, who looked dreadful. And so
the other shock.
This has the ingredients of being a winter wonderland, a snowball effect here, where the Broncos, who have really good defensive backs among the top in the NFL, they can confuse Jake Browning just like the Vikings did last week, and a cornucopia of mistakes, stalled drives, and punts and turnovers. And the only thing that gives me pause here, it's a big number, 7.5, and you've got the Bo Show, as in Bo Nix, who's thrown 3 interceptions, Tom, 3 interceptions in 3 games. He's averaging less than 6 yards per attempt, so that's not good. And Denver only had 9 first downs last week. They were still in position to win because of their defense. But bottom line is the Bengals are horrific defensively. There's no way I am putting anything down on the Bengals side. The only way to go is to take the other team. So I will take the Broncos in this one. What about the penny, Tom?
Okay, my stepsister Pat lives in Denver.
Oh, hi, Pat. Hi.
People Magazine's nicest person of the year. Benny going with the Broncos, and the penny landing on heads going with the hometown Broncos as well.
Tom's doing improv now. All right, where are we headed? Where are we going, Tom? What do we have?
As we dovetail to the C block, nothing's improv here. I'm teleprompter Tom. Let's look at our loose change. Let's fire up the banner here, please. Let's go with our loose change.
Okay. Oh, yes, look at that. Right.
Yes, Benny and the penny agree on Titans, Texans, Jaguars, 49ers, and Bears, Raiders. Benny and the Penny disagreeing on Browns, Lions, Commanders, Falcons, and Panthers, Patriots. And there's a number of nattering nabobs of NFL nuggets knocking around in your noggin this week, Big Ben. Make it make sense.
All right, so sometimes you spend a lot of money and you don't get a lot in return, Tom. How about the chip of gold? So we learned this week that Chip Kelly of the Raiders, the offensive coordinator, is said to be the NFL's highest paid offensive coordinator this year. Tom Brady is paying a premium for the former Eagle, 49er, UCLA, Oregon head coach. So what are the early returns? You're paying the most money for an offensive coordinator. The Raiders are 26th in the NFL in scoring offense. They are 16th in total offense. And a lot of those numbers are in garbage time when Geno Smith was getting passing yards in the fourth quarter. So not a lot of return on investment, RIO on Chip Kelly. My other thought is be careful where the public is on these games, Tom. It's been a humiliation situation. According to some of the numbers, teams that got 60% or more the first 3 weeks, 60% or more of the gambling tickets this season, there's been 21 games this year heading into this weekend, with 21 games where 60% or more of the tickets were on one side. And the record against the spread, 4-17. So if you just bet against the public, you would have gone 17-4, and you'd be in the presidential suite right now. And it's just crazy how lopsided it has been, where if there's a lot of tickets on a game so far, again, this, as Dick Stockton taught me, Tom, this tells you what has happened.
Yes.
Not what's going to happen, but that's where we are right now.
When we did our NFL show, he was probably the most pleasurable guest, and we had a lot of them. Kurt Warner was another one, where they were just such a relaxed pleasure to have on the air. Dick was good with the microphone. He had been doing it for so long, and when we interviewed him, it was nostalgic for us because
yes,
well,
that was the key. We grew up watching Dick Stockton on television.
He had a great sense of humor because I would say whenever you hear the voice of Dick Stockton, you know something important is happening, except for right now.
Well, and I don't know whether it was on the radio show. I had him on my podcast, and Dick told a funny story. So I went to Syracuse before it was Syracuse.
Right.
Like he went there with like Marv Albert and Bob Costas, like this original class that became, Pittsburgh's now like the gold standard for sportscasting and all that. But Dick Stockton said, when I went there, it wasn't like that at all. All right.
By the way, if you'd rather not have a career than go to Syracuse, let me tell you, we've lived in Syracuse. Please.
Well, I've been to Syracuse. I drove through Syracuse, Tom, and I was most surprised when I got to the Carrier Dome. And as a child, I remember watching Big East college basketball on Monday nights, and I saw so many great Syracuse teams. And I was passing through Syracuse, and I said, I got to go to check out the Carrier Dome.
Mm-hmm.
I even remember when Syracuse had good football players like Donovan McNabb and people like that. So I was like, I got to go check this out. So I went there. It was during the summer. The Carrier Dome, which is named after a what, Tom? An air conditioning.
The guy who invented air conditioning. Yeah.
Yes. Does not have air conditioning.
That's funny. Oh, my.
And I asked him, I said, why does it not have? And I said, well, it's never hot enough here for air conditioning, so we didn't put it in. We don't need it.
Oh, yeah, that is true. By the way, the sun never shines. Why would they need air conditioning? A lot of tanning booths do well in Syracuse. Why? Not because of vanity, because the sun doesn't shine in October, November, December, January, February, March, and April.
I know. All right, we'll get out on that. Thank you for watching here. We have new episodes, 2 new episodes every week, Tom, of Benny versus the Penny. The appetizer drops on Wednesday, the main course sometime on Thursday or Thursday night. And you watch it whenever you want. Subscribe, tell a friend. Is that all the YouTube lingo, Tom? Is there any other YouTube lingo I need to know?
Oh, that's all that begging lingo that they give us when you sign on to YouTube. They make sure you do that. Ring the bell. Are you supposed to ring a bell?
Oh yeah, ring whatever. I don't see a bell here.
I say, okay, well, if we're gonna do this show, Ben's doing the begging.
Yes, Benny the Beggar. One of my new nicknames.
Wow.